What is up, guys? It is RSC6414 here, back with another video. This time I am recapping and talking about the first two NCAA tournament games to kick off the big dance. I tried to upload a prediction video earlier today, but it failed, and I'm going to go ahead and recap the games. I'll be doing this for each day, kind of recapping each day's games and what stood out to me, and kind of previewing who we'll face next. So let's go ahead and get to the recap. The first two games we had is the first four, is what the NCAA is calling it. The first four are the last four teams in, so 65 through 68 basically. It should be, this was a decent amount of games. For the most part, I thought Albany Mt.St Marys was a better game than NC.State Xavier. I thought hopefully State Xavier would probably be. I knew Albany and Mt.St Marys were pretty evenly matched, and so is State Xavier, but State has T.J Warren, which is like an all-star caliber player, which would make a difference, obviously. So, no surprise. The big difference are D.J Evans and Peter Hooley for Albany here. Mt.St Marys, you had Rashad Wack, your star player, who didn't play as well, and also Julian Norfleet, who didn't play as well. Both two three-point shooters that were not as much on their game. They got off to a slow start. Mt.St Marys was down 21-2 to start the game. Mt.St Marys would eventually come back and cut the lead to about 4 or 5 at half. And Albany, towards the end of the game, would never really pull away. It'd just be kind of close off and on the whole time. Just when it looked like Albany had a chance to pull away, Mt.St Marys would come back and take the lead by a point or two. I think the biggest lead Mt.St Marys had was about 4 points. But it was a good back-and-forth game. Peter Hooley hit some clutch three-point shots. D.J Evans had a great game. D.J Evans had 22 points. Peter Hooley had, I think he had about 20 if I'm not mistaken. And they also had some play from Albany has 4 guys from Australia. This is the first NCAA tournament win for Albany, so congrats to them. The Great Danes pick up the win. I'd like to see them. I think that they could give Florida some trouble in the first half, so go Albany. 16 seed advances to play Florida. 4:40 p.m. I think on, or 4:20 p.m. on Thursday. Albany ends up beating Mt.St Marys 71-64 tonight. Albany was up 67-64. Peter Hooley missed a free throw. Mt.St Marys had missed a three-point shot in and out to tie the game by Rashad Wack. He had a look. It literally rimmed in and out, hung on the rim, and bounced off. And they fouled Peter Hooley, who would miss a free throw. Then they'd get another chance after the missed free throw. Julian Norfleet, whose idol is Stephen Curry, they said he would miss a three-pointer off the back iron, and they'd foul Albany. Albany would hit the free throws, and then they'd miss another shot, hit some more, and Albany would pick up the win. Congrats to the Albany Great Danes. They'd pick up the win. And then the next game, the other game of the night, NC.State versus Xavier. This game was not nearly as competitive, I didn't think. It was 34-28 at half. It was competitive most of the first half. State had the lead most of the first half, and they would end up leading 34-28 at half. Matt Stainbrook, the center for Xavier, was their kind of star player along with Samaj Kristen. He's a good player. Stainbrook performed well. He had about, if I'm not mistaken, 17, 18, maybe 19 points. Can't exactly remember. Samaj Kristen, pretty sure he had somewhere around 12 to 15 points. It wasn't as good as what he usually gets. He didn't play terrible by any means, but not as good. Stainbrook played a pretty good game. And then you had T.J Warren, who played an amazing game. He would finish with 25 points. So T.J Warren stepped up here, carried the Wolfpack. They would eventually pull away in the second half. They'd be up by 10, and then they'd just carry the lead, keep the lead up. And basically the story here was T.J Warren outperformed the whole Xavier team. State, they had some, neither team really shot like a three-pointer well, but the difference is field goal percentage. 55% of State's field goals were made, and only 42% of Xavier's field goals were made. Three-point percentage, 28%, and 14%. State had 28, Xavier had 14, and free throws 75% made. Xavier only had 69%. So State led the game in all the numbers, which helped State win. T.J Warren's 25 points would help, and State would hold on to the lead through the second half, and they'd end up beating Xavier 74-59. So NC.State will take on the 5 seed St. Louis Billikens. St. Louis 5 seed versus 12 seed. This could be a potential upset here. State's got a talented team, especially with T.J Warren and Ralston Turner. And St. Louis is a good team, plays some good team basketball, so don't be surprised if State wins, but also don't be surprised if St. Louis wins, because St. Louis is a good team. They may play in the Atlantic 10, which is not the strongest conference, but it's not terrible. But I think St. Louis will pick up the win. That's my prediction. That's who I picked. I picked Xavier to beat State because you never really know what you're going to get from State. Tonight they came to play and showed us why they should be in the tournament, when a lot of people were shocked that they even got in the first place. But congrats to State, congrats to Albany. They both advanced, and that recapped the first 4. Tomorrow I'll recap the last 2 games in the first 4, and then I will show you and predict my whole bracket in a separate video. Hope you enjoyed this video. Check out my other videos and subscribe. Thanks, guys.